Got. So today is Tuesday, so this would have been last week. Things you want to remember. I'm going to kind of highlight these. You want to remember. Well, I cannot cross those. You want to remember the conversion. Okay. So you want to remember that 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds and 1 pound is 16 ounces. And we were going to start with combination drugs. So to calculate, it's going to be a day, I can't say words. To calculate the safe dosage of these medications, and these are, again, the combination drugs where you've got 2 different types of medication. The hydrocodones have 2 different types. The codeine 3 or the Tylenol 3s, or codeine and Tylenol. This one I can't even say is erythromycin. I can't say the other one either, but they're 2 different types of medication. And especially if you're dealing with pediatric drugs, you're going to go to, in this case, a pediatric drug reference. Often the nurse will need to calculate the safe dosage for each medication combined in the solution or suspension. So you're going to calculate for the erythromycin and for the one that begins with the S. Make sure both the dosages are safe. These combination drugs are usually ordered by the number of tablets. Sometimes they're ordered by the number of milliliters. The doctor won't give you per milligram, okay? Because they come specific. So with this one, Pediazole, I think is how you say it, he's ordered 6 milliliters. And the Pediazole is erythromycin, 200 milligrams, and I don't know that one, 600 milligrams per 5 milliliter of the second one. They're both per 5 milliliter. He ordered it by mouth every 6 hours for a child weighing 44 pounds. So we're going to need from this just the 44 pounds. Okay. And then from the drug reference, it's a combination drug containing 200 milligrams of erythromycin, whatever, with 600 milligrams of the other drug in every 5 milliliter oral suspension. So we're going to work with the 200 milligrams of erythromycin and 600 milligrams of the other drug. And it's every 5 milliliters. So the usual dosage is 50 milligrams for erythromycin, and 150 milligrams of the other one per kilogram per day. So we're really not going to need this right now. That's the 2 drugs, and that matches what the doctor's ordered. So just like we did the others, we're going to find the safe dosage. We're going to find the safe number of milliliters. So I'm going to use the 50 milligrams first because I want milligrams. No, I don't. I want milliliters per dose. So I'm going to start with the 50 milligrams per kilogram per dose. Backtrack. 50 milligrams per kilogram per dose. Times the 5 milliliters. Times the weight, 44 pounds. 0.2 pounds. And that gives me my milligrams per dose. So my, whoops. I can't get started this morning correctly. Pounds cancel, kilograms cancel, I'm left with milligrams per dose. So I'm doing 50 times the 44 divided by the 2.2. Maybe I just need to turn the video on and let y'all watch that. It would do a better job than I am this morning. Right, so 50 times 44. 2,200 divided by the 2.2. And that gives me the 1,000. And it's not milligrams per dose, is it? It's milligrams per day. Kilograms per day. Milligrams per kilogram per day. So if this is per day, and we know that there's one day, the dose is every 6 hours. So I'm going to give 4 doses. So 1,000 divided by 4. That's 250 milligrams per dose. So the doctors ordered 200 milligrams. So is that 200 milligrams safe? Remember, our safe has to be greater than or equal to our order. Yeah. Our safe is 250. Our order is 200. This is true, which makes it safe. Okay, so the erythromycin is safe. And then if I look at, I still want milligrams per dose. The one that begins with an S, it's 150 milligrams per kilogram per day times the weight, 44 pounds, times my conversion, 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds. And then times 1 day, 4 doses. So you can't actually write this one out all at once. I just didn't do it a while ago. So I've got to see. Kilograms cancel, pounds cancel, days cancel. So I'm left with milligrams per dose. So 150 times 44 is 6,600. And then times 4 is 8.8. So 6,600 divided by 8.8. It's 750 milligrams per dose. So is this one safe? Yeah, because this is my safe. The safe is greater than or equal to my order. My order is 600. So then this is safe. right, since he ordered 6 milliliters, we're not through yet, I just wish we were. We're going to take the 250 milligrams per dose, and we're going to multiply it by, I went up here and drew the lines, the 200 milligrams in every 5 milliliters. So the 5 milliliters divided by the 200 milligrams. 250 times 5 is 1250 divided by 200. And that's 6.25 milliliters per dose. So that one is safe because my milliliters, remember the doctor ordered 6 milliliters, so my 620.25 milliliters is greater than or equal to the 6 milliliters that was ordered. So this makes this a safe dose. I feel like this has just went over everybody's head. Combination drugs are not easy. Well, they're more complicated, I'll put it that way. They're not hard. There's just a lot of steps and a lot of things you have to remember to do because you have to find the milligrams per dose. Then you have to find the milliliters to make sure the doctor's ordered the right amount of milliliters. But we have to do it for the erythrozyme, the E one. Now we have to do it for the S one, so my safe dose was 750 milligrams per dose. I go back up here and look. Then I'm going to use the 600 milligrams in 5 milliliters. So times, again, the 5 milliliters on top, the 600 milligrams. I can do 750 times 5. Excuse me, the 3750 divided by 600. And again, I get 6.25 milliliters per dose. These should be the same. When you work them, you should get the same milliliters per dose for both of them. Since I've lost you on that one. I'm going to try to do a split screen. Just give me a little bit more room to work. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. We have our order. Is 7.5 milliliters of 40 milligrams per 5 milliliters. And the child's weight is 22 pounds.
We can't see what your right hand word.
Okay, so let me see if I can share. Can you see it like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have an order of 7.5 milliliters of 40 milligrams per 5 milliliters. And then the drug reference states that the Septra is a combination drug containing whatever this is. It's TMP, 40 milligrams. And this, whatever that is, 200 milligrams and 5 milliliters or suspension. It further states that the dosage, that the usual dosage of Septra is based on the TMP component. So all I need to look at here is the TMP component and not this, whatever this one is. So I don't need the 200 milligrams. So the TMP is 40 milligrams and 5 milliliters. And then, which is 6 to 12 milligrams per kilogram per day. Going back and forth between two is not helpful. So 6 milligrams per kilogram per day to 12 milligrams per kilogram per day. And its divided dose is every 12 hours. So every 12 hours is 2 times a day, right? Or I should say 2 doses. So the 6 milligrams is my minimum. The 12 milligrams is my maximum. So our first step is to find our range. Milligrams per dose. Okay. So I'm going to start with the 6 milligrams per kilogram per dose. Not dose, it's day. Times the weight, which is 22 pounds. And then times the 1 kilogram per 2.2 pounds. And then my 1 day, 2 doses. So this is the same as what we were doing last week with just safe dosages. So my kilograms cancel, my pounds cancel, my day cancels. And I'm left with milligrams per dose. So I'm going to do 6 times 22. I get 132. 2.2 times 2 is 4.4. So divide that. Gotta hit the right keys in the calculator. And I get 30 milligrams per dose. Then we're going to do the exact same thing, except that we're going to use the maximum, the 12 milligrams per kilogram per day times the 22 pounds over 1 times the 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds, 1 day, 2 doses. Days cancel, pounds cancel, kilograms will cancel. So now I'm taking the 12 times the 22, and I get 264. 2.2 times 2 again is 4.4. And I get 60 milligrams per dose. Okay, so the 40 milligrams in the 5 milliliters, that's safe, right? Okay, so we know that much is safe. But did he order, since it's ordered by the number of milliliters, is my number of milliliters safe? So now I have to find, second, is I'm going to find the number of milliliters per dose for the range. So I'm going to take the 30 milligrams per dose times, and then the TMP is 40 milligrams per 5 milliliters. So my 5 milliliters, 40 milligrams. I'm going to cancel some zeros here. 3 times 5 then is 15 divided by 4. And I get 3.75 milliliters. That's my minimum amount. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing now with the 60 milligrams per dose times the 5 milliliters for 40 milligrams. And remember, this 5 milligrams per 40 milliliters that I'm using came from the drug reference here, the 40 milligrams here, not from the order, because they're the same. Signs or sheets, and I have to. So again, 0 divided by 0. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 divided by 4 is 7.5 milliliters. This is my maximum amount. So my range is 3.75 milliliters. Has to be less than or equal than the ordered milliliters, which has to be less than or equal to the 7.5 milliliters. So my ordered milliliters was 7.5 milliliters. So are we in a safe amount? safe. So we can actually give the 7.5 milliliters. Then when you go to calculate how much should you give, then you're going to give the 7.5 milliliters because that's what he's ordered. You just got to make sure that what the pharmacy has sent is what you're going to give. So questions? These are long, there's a lot of steps, a lot of places to get confused on, a lot of places to make mistakes on. Okay? You have to be very careful with it. And it might be beneficial when you're learning is do like I did up on this sheet I opened. Write everything out that you're going to need. Okay? I've got my order. I don't know how to fix that. So I've got my order up here as my first line. And then my drug reference is all this. Okay. You may want to separate it out so you're not looking back at the problem every time. So let's look at the next problem. So I have an order for Tylenol and codeine suspension. It's Tylenol 3. And the doctor's ordered 10 milliliters. So then down here, I'll put my order in green. He's ordered 10 milliliters. And it's 100, it's Tylenol, so I can't say the other word. 120 milligrams. The codeine is 12 milligrams per 5 milliliters. Every 4 hours, which is how many doses is every 4 hours? Take 24 divided by 4. You get 6 doses. So then, from my drug reference, it states that the Tylenol and codeine is a combination drug containing 120 milligrams of Tylenol. So my drug reference, I have 120 milligrams of Tylenol and 12 milligrams of codeine. And it's all per 5 milliliters. So that matches what the doctor's ordered, right? The safe dosage is based on the 0.5 to 1 milligram per kilogram per dose. Every 4 to 6 hours is needed. Every 4 to every 6. All right, since the doctor's ordered every 4, we're going to look at the every 4. We're not going to pay attention to the every 6. Okay, so we're going to go with what the doctor has ordered. Got everything I need written out. So with my safe dosage, so first, I'm going to look at my safe dosage range. I'm going to do the 0.5, starting with my minimum, milligrams per kilogram per dose. times, what was my child's weight? Oops, that's wrong here. Is it 42 pounds?
Yes, 42 pounds.
2 pounds. Times 42 pounds times the 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds. Now, this was all per dose, right? This is per dose. So do I have to convert it to 6 doses?
No.
No, I don't have to do this. So I can just put in equals here because I'm already in per dose. So my kilograms cancel, my pounds cancel, and I'm left with milligrams per dose. So I have 0.5 times 42. That gives me 21 over the 2.2. And I get 9.5 milligrams per dose. Now, I didn't say this Thursday, but I'm going to say this today. Some places will want you to round to the whole milligram. Okay? So we could round to 10 milligrams per dose. Because if you were to convert the 42 pounds, we're going to round it. So it could change it. So we can use anywhere from 9.5 to 10 milligrams per dose. Okay? And it just depends on how you convert your weight. So then I'm going to do the maximum, which is the 1 milligram per kilogram per dose, times my 42 pounds, times the 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds. So 1 times 42 is 42. Pounds cancel. Divided by 2.2. And I'm going to get 19.1 milligrams per dose. Or I could say 19 milligrams per dose. Now, since the doctor ordered milliliters, I don't have anything to compare my milligrams per dose with because it's 120 milligrams of Tylenol, 12 milligrams of codeine per 5 milliliters. So I can't compare this to see if it's safe. So I really have to do the second part of it before I can come up with any kind of answer. So I'm going to find the milliliters per dose. So if I start with the 10 milligrams per dose, go back up here to my drug reference, my Tylenol, 120. I gotta read the question again before I screw something up.
Okay, 10 milliliters overdose. We're using the milligrams. You're good. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
and I get 0.42 milliliters. So that's just under a half a milliliter.
Why did you use the 5 milliliters for?
Okay, I'm gonna go back. So I'm missing something somewhere, and I don't know if it's in my problem I've written.
When you just do the 120 over 1, and then when you do the second one, it will be then be the 12 over 5.
Say that again.
For the second, the milliliter, from the milliliters to dose, would you just do 10 milligrams over dose times 120 milligrams over 1? And then for the next one, then you would do the 12 milligrams per 5 milliliters?
Well, it's a combination drug, and I'm thinking we're supposed to do both. I'm gonna try to do both programs.
Right.
Okay, I'm working this from memory. That's always dangerous. I usually can do this though. So if I do the 12 milligrams, the 10 milligrams per dose times the 5 milliliters for 12 milligrams. That gives me 50 milliliters divided by 12. And I get 4.2 milliliters.
Where did you get the 10 milligrams from?
The same dose.
Milliliters.
So we're, for this one, to get milliliters per dose, we're using our safe dose. And then to get 19 milligrams per dose times the 5 milliliters per 12, should be milligrams there, between 12 milligrams. 19 times 5 is 95. Divided by 12. And I get 7.9 milliliters. And he's ordered 10 milliliters. When in doubt, you check your solution. Okay. I had that right, the 9.5 to the 19.1. That was my safe dose. Oh, here's what I missed. Safe dosage is based on the codeine component. Okay, that's the reason, I go back over here, the girls were telling me to use the 12 milligrams, because if I look at this, safe dosage is based on the codeine component. So I don't have to worry about the 120 milligrams of Tylenol. I'm only worried about the 12 milligrams of codeine for 5 milliliters. That's what happens when you do not read the problem all the way through. Okay. So y'all want me to work that one again?
Yeah.
Let's work it right here. All right, so my order is 10 milliliters. all I have to do with the acetaminophen, the Tylenol, and the codeine is make sure that they match what is in my drug reference, okay? And then the drug, and I have to have my weight, my child's weight of 42 pounds. Then in my drug reference, it's based on the codeine, so my safe dosage is 0.5 to 1 milligram per kilogram per dose, every 4 to 6 hours as needed. Right. The doctor ordered it 4 hours, so we're going to only worry about the every 4 hours, which we don't have to worry about that, right? Because it's per dose. If it was per day, then I'd have to worry about it. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to determine the safe dosage range. So I'm going to start with the 0.5 milligrams per kilogram. Right here is that. Times my child's weight of 42 pounds. My conversion, 1 kilogram to pound. I don't have to worry about the dose. So my kilogram will cancel my kilogram, pound cancels pound, and I'm going to do 0.5 times 42. And I get 21 divided by 2.2 because it's the only number on the bottom. And I get 9.5 milligrams per dose. So this was my minimum. To do my maximum, same thing, except I'm using the 1 milligram per kilogram per dose. Child's weight still 42 pounds. Still doing my conversion, 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds. So 1 times 42 is 42. I only have 2.2 on the bottom. I can cancel out my units. Then I'm going to do 42 divided by 2.2. And I get 19.1 milligram per dose.
Ms. Young,
Yes, ma'am.
are you gonna want us to round those?
Unless I say to, you don't have to. I mean, you round them to the nearest tenth, but you don't have to round them to the whole. Now, if you want to round them to the whole, you can. And I'll say that right. Second thing I have to do is I have to find the safe milliliters per dose range. Okay, I'll go back up here and write my. So I'm going to take my milligrams per dose and I'm going to multiply it by, since it's based on codeine, I'm using the 12 milligrams per 5 milliliters to find my milliliters. So it's still the form on top, the strength on bottom. So then my milligrams will cancel, and I'm going to get 9.5 times 5 47.5 divided by 12. And I get 3.958 or 95, which would actually make that 4 milliliters, right? I rounded to the 10th, and that would make it a 4. Okay, so my minimum is 4. I'm going to take my maximum safe dose in milligrams per dose times the same codeine, 5 milliliters, 12 milligrams. And then I'm going to multiply 19.1 times 5. And I get 95 over 12. That's 95.5 over 12. And that gave me 7.95, which would round to 8 milliliters. Okay. So my range would be 4 milliliters is less than or equal to my ordered milliliters, which is less than or equal to my max, 8 milliliters. Now we know our order is 10 milliliters. So is that true? Is 10 milliliters greater than 4 but less than 8? No. So it's not a safe dose. Did that make a little more sense that time around?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, in the textbook, there are some really good review exercises that deal with the combination drugs. That's where I got these 3 from. Well, actually, I think the review sets all numbers, even and odds, are in the back of your textbook. So work a few of these in your textbook and check your answers to make sure you're getting it right. So the textbook's a good resource. All right, now I'm not going to work your work on that answer sheet. I'm not going to work out the adult dosage. It's the same way we do the pediatric, okay? It's the dosage, the recommended dosage. So the recommended adult dosage, the 1.1 to 1.7 milligrams per kilogram times the patient's weight, okay? So these are always, we call it the recommended dosage times the patient's weight. And then if you need the conversion or whatever, and that equals your safe dose. So it doesn't matter if we're doing pediatric or if we're doing adult, it's the same thing. Okay. Is the order safe? So we're going to compare that to what we have ordered. And if it's safe, then we're going to find it. I said I wasn't going to. Do I need to for y'all? This one to refresh it in your mind? By the looks of some of my faces in here, I would think so. It wouldn't hurt. Okay. So my recommended safe, or my recommended dose is the 1 to 1.7. So just like we did a while ago, I'm going to do the 1 milligram per kilogram, and that is every 8 hours. So if it's every 8 hours, that's per dose. If it was per 24 hours, then it would be per day. Times my patient's weight, 150 pounds over 1, times my conversion, the 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds. Pounds cancel, my kilograms cancel. So 1 times 150 is 150. 1 times 2.2 is 2.2. have to hit the right buttons. And I get 68.2 milligrams per dose. Let's look at the 1 point, then we'll do the 1.7 milligrams per kilogram per dose times a patient's weight of 150 pounds times a 1 kilogram over 2.2 pounds. So now I've got to multiply the 1.7 times the 150. I get 255 over the 2.2 because it's the only number on the bottom. And I'm going to get 115.9 milligrams per dose. So my order is for 100 milligrams. So is this dose safe?
Yes.
Yes, because the 100 falls between the minimum and the maximum. Greater than the minimum, less than the maximum. So this is a safe dose. And then it says, is the order safe? If the order is safe, how much will you administer? Okay, so since it was safe, I'm looking for milliliters. So I want to know how many milliliters I have. My supply is the 80 milligrams per 2 milliliters. And I've got to have my order of 100 milligrams. So remember, this one's the order over 1 times my supply form, my dosage form, which is 2 milliliters, or my dosage strength, which is 80 milligrams. I have a 0 on bottom, so I can cancel a 0 on top. It's a 1 to 1. Then 10 times 2 is 20 divided by 8, because there's only an 8 on the bottom. And I want to give 2.5 milliliters. The only difference between what we're doing, how we're calculating adult dosages, how we calculate pediatric dosages, is that when we read on the label and it says usual adult dosage, that's the one we're going to look at. And of course, an adult generally will weigh more than a child. Though my nephew, who was at the age of 17, still weighed twice as much as I did at the age of 30. So actually, I think I was closer to 40, but anyway. Some children will weigh more than adults, but I was getting at kind of making a joke. All right, so all this swimming in your head and it needs time to settle, right? Got a question? Okay.
Why don't you find the milliliter by using the minimum or maximum?
Because that's, well, I could have done that and that would have told me the minimum amount of milliliters I could give. But I want to know, because he gave me an order of 100 milligrams.
Okay, so how much milliliters? Okay.
He gave me the order and then I've got a supply. I needed to know first if the dose was safe, if what he'd ordered was safe. Then if it's safe, then I can take what I have in my drawer and calculate the number of milliliters. Okay. Now, if he had ordered, instead of 100 milliliters, he had ordered instead of 100 milligrams, he'd ordered 2 milliliters, then I would have taken my safe dosages and found my milliliters. Okay. Does that make somewhat sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's all just as clear as murky mud, right? That was one of my grandmother's favorite sayings, is that was just as clear as mud, especially when I didn't explain something right. Okay, so we're going to test over 10, 11, 12, and 13. And it'll be closer to the end of the week, probably end of the week, over the weekend. And I'll have it open, so it'll give you time for this to settle. You can ask questions on Thursday. We're going to start chapter 15 on Thursday because I want to do little portions of it because it's a big chapter. There's a lot to it. It's got like, I did videos and I've got like 4 different videos on it. So break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces. And it'll probably take me the entire hour and 20 minutes. But we'll have a test, like I said, over the weekend. And you'll see it open up. But you'll have a week to do it. Once you start it, though, you've got just the hour and 20 minutes to finish it. Don't Google your conversions, okay? When we're doing some of these, if you've got grams, you got to change them to milligrams. Remember, there's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. If you got to know how many teaspoons, remember, there's 5 milliliters in 1 teaspoon. Some of y'all, out of all the math for nurses classes I'm teaching, or math for health professions classes I'm teaching, I had several that Googled how many milliliters were in a teaspoon, and it came up with some weird things. But if you come up with a decimal place for your milliliters, you're wrong. Our milliliters are always whole numbers. They're in the front cover of your textbook and they're in the handout, so know your conversions. The nursing department expects you to know the conversions when you get in there. For this next test, you'll have some conversions. They'll be in the problems, but you'll have some conversions to do. All right, now I'm going to shut up. I will see you all Thursday. Have a good week.